Can 6 questions that take less than 5 minutes to answer diagnose ADHD accurately? Some people are getting diagnosed based off of these 6 questions. Some people are skeptical. Some people aren't even sure. Some people might not even know what I am talking about. In today's video, I'm going to go through with you this commonly used screener. Well, it's actually not so common. In some contexts it is, some contexts it's not. But what I see in the practice is some people take this screener, takes less than 5 minutes, and then they diagnose with ADHD, either self-diagnose or a professional diagnoses them with ADHD. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to go through what the screener is, what my thoughts are on it, whether it's accurate, whether it's not. You're going to be much more informed after this video. Now, we're going to do no gatekeeping. We're going to jump right in. But before I do, let me introduce myself. My name is Matt. I'm a therapist in private practice. I own a group practice called Progress, stylized as PRGRS. We serve clients across the state of New York, all virtually, and we specialize in ADHD. So we work with folks day in and day out dealing with ADHD. All right. That's why we're making these videos, to educate people and hopefully to help you out. So let's just dive right in. Oh, yes. If you want to know more about our practice, click the link down below. Check out our website, schedule a free consult, all that good stuff. Let me share my screen with you now. All right. So I'm making the title, these 6 questions, can it predict ADHD? The first thing we have to just, what is this called? This is called the ASRS version 1.1, stands for the Adult ADHD Self-Report Scale. Now, this is version 1.1. There is a version 5 that came out. I'm noticing that a lot of people are sticking with the version 1.1. The main difference is the version 1.1 is based off DSM-4 criteria, and the ASRS 5 is based off DSM-5. All right. But a lot of people are still using this. Now, I'm actually just going to read this to you so that you can see exactly what it sounds like or hear what it sounds like. If you want to skip ahead a little bit to another section where I talk about it, you can do that now. But essentially, this ASRS, this is made up of Part A, which you'll notice I have right here. That's the only part I have in the video. This is what's used for diagnosing, or it shouldn't be, but it sometimes is. That's a little cue into what we're going to talk about later. But there are more questions that are part of this, but they're not used as kind of the indicators. It's these first 6 questions. All right. And at the end of the day, what this says is that if you have 4 or more in the dark shaded area, then that's what we're going to talk about. All right. But 4 or more in the dark shaded area, that's important to remember. And we're talking about, over the last 6 months. Let me just read this to you as if I'm reading it to you. So it's going to say this: please answer the questions below, rating yourself on each of the criteria shown using the scale on the right side of the page. As you answer each question, place an X in the box that best describes how you have felt and conducted yourself over the past 6 months. Please give this completed checklist to your healthcare professional to discuss during today's appointment. Now, people are doing this online on their own. It is a self-report after all, right? And it's asking you to take into account the last 6 months. And it's these 6 questions here. Number 1. How often do you have trouble wrapping up the final details of a project once the challenging parts have been done? These are the options: never, rarely, sometimes, often, very often. And that's going to be the selection for all of them. Number 2, how often do you have difficulty getting things in order when you have to do a task that requires organization? Number 3, how often do you have problems remembering appointments or obligations? Number 4, when you have a task that requires a lot of thought, how often do you avoid or delay getting started? Number 5, how often do you fidget or squirm with your hands or feet when you have to sit down for a long time? And number 6, how often do you feel overly active and compelled to do things like you are driven by a motor? And those are the 6 questions, right? Now, that's the screener, especially the part A. That's the important part. Here's the big question. Can this accurately diagnose ADHD? Yes and no. So number 1, I have this in reverse order, but let's just start here. This should never be used to diagnose ADHD as the only thing, as the only scale or tool. Although this happens, believe it or not, I've seen this happen several ways. One way is someone does a self-report, they bring it to the doctor looks at it, agrees, and boom, they've got a diagnosis. Not the way it should work. Another way I've seen it happen is that a doctor or a provider will have a client fill this out. They'll get 4 or more on the 6 questions in the shaded areas. Boom, they've got a diagnosis. But as you can tell, you cannot diagnose ADHD off of these 6 questions alone. This is not nearly enough information, and it's only asking about the last 6 months. This is just not simply going to work. ADHD is something that we have to trace back to childhood. All right, that's number one. It's not number one. There's plenty of points here that I'm bringing up. So short answer, no, this cannot be used to diagnose ADHD. When I say yes, though, it can be a decent indicator of further testing. So if someone gets 4 or more here, what this screener says at the top, I don't have this part, but there's instructions to it. It says that if they get 4 or more, right, then this is a good indicator that further testing could be appropriate. So it could be good for that. Now you have to remember, this screener is not everything either, right? Just because someone doesn't get 4 or more doesn't mean they don't have it. But this is shown to be effective in identifying folks with ADHD. Okay, you could read further research online, but it is fairly accurate. All right, so if someone does get 4 or more, then a good next recommendation from that provider could be to pursue further testing. All right, so in that regard, it can be good. Now, why is this important? Well, number one, it can point people in the right direction. There's not enough providers actually giving this out to people. I don't know if I've ever seen this in a primary care doctor's office. I think this would be really, really helpful. Some people don't know this exists, so they skip it. This could really identify people that would benefit from further testing, who might just slip through the cracks. All right, so it could be really great to identify those who are at risk for slipping through the cracks. The other thing is, once we take this, it can then point us in the right direction, right? So let's say we take it, we get 4 or more, right? Maybe this is the first time we're saying, wow, the things I'm experiencing could be ADHD. Let me look into that a little bit further. So I think that this screener is a great tool for those reasons, identifying people that could slip through the cracks and giving us some sense of where we should go next when it comes to the direction. As always, there's no one tool for diagnosing ADHD. To diagnose ADHD, it's a lot more complex than just having one screener here. But I hope this clears things up, because I've seen a lot of people just diagnosing based off of these 6 questions. Although they're great questions, right? I don't think that you can get an official diagnosis based off of this. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you learned something. If you have any, if you're interested in working with us or you want to check out more information, check the description down below. Other than that, hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.